Ready to go live? No, fuck off.
You fuck off. You
All right,
ass.
give me 3 seconds of silence.
Son
Three
of a bitch.
seconds.
Son of a bitch. Welcome back to the Austin Otaku podcast, everyone. My name is Jesse McDonald, and joined again by the bald beacon of hatred and misanthropy, Keith Good.
Yeah. Don't get me started, people.
Now,
What a bunch of
what a bunch of
bastards.
bastards. Now, is it misanthropy, misanthropy?
Misanthropy.
Ooh, misanthropy. That's good. Never mind.
I assume, but it also might be somebody's name. Oh, that's a misanthropy over there. She's very nice, actually.
I feel like I
Despite her
really missed an opportunity when naming my child.
Missy Anthropy.
This is my daughter, Miss Anthropy.
I dig it. I dig it.
I dig it too. So Mulligan.
I mean,
I'll-
she's going to learn at some point in life that humans are garbage.
bastards. Yeah, trash. Yeah, this is great. I'm gonna look into it. I think it's only gonna like a couple $100 to legally change her name. So
That's true.
I'll start
That is
looking
true.
into that. I'll report
And-
back.
And I will say this is probably the most upbeat and optimistic episode of the show so far. So I think we're on a roll here.
New year, new us.
New year, new us. We still hate people.
All bastards always.
How's it going for you? You've been back to work. What now? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks?
Well, I think you've been back to work the same amount of time as I.
I mean, I wouldn't call it work. Just kidding.
But yes, I think we've been back for about 2 weeks. So this is our first episode of the new year. And things are going good. Got a slow rolling start to the new year as we're figuring things out, which is a very welcome change from last year. So yeah, things are good. How about you?
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Sorry, it was a little joke there. Total Recall. If you didn't get it, where his little head malfunctions and how long are you on Mars? 2 weeks. Anyway,
I really enjoy how off the rails we are already. This is great.
What can you say? I mean, come on. I know. In the notes that it's not a Colin Farrell movie. It will never be the Colin Farrell movie.
Well played.
Ever.
Well, I'm excited getting back into the groove of recording this podcast again. And I figured what better way to kick off the new year than with someone that I've known and respected for a really long time and has been kind of in my life since almost the very beginning of my SEO career and has just been a beacon of positivity and just fun. So why not kick the new year off with that? And for everyone wondering, our guest today and the first guest of 2021 is Kenny Madison. Kenny Madison is an Austin-based comedian who does a bit of it all, and I can completely agree with that. He truly is a jack of all trades and a master of a few. From improv comedy to podcasting, YouTubing, and even ambient TV at gas stations, chances are you've probably seen at least one of his things just through sheer force of will. He's also a 3-time nominee of the B. Iden Payne Award for Excellence in Improv Comedy, which is an Austin-based acting award recognized for the best city has to offer. So with that, welcome to the show, Kenny Madison.
Yay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yay. Applause.
And if you are a frequent listener of the show, so if you're one of our, what are we at, Keith? 34 people that might listen to it frequently?
We've actually had over 800 listens to our podcast to date.
Which is not bad.
Not bad, since we didn't really intend on having an audience.
Right.
But I'd say on average, we're between 25 and 35 in the first week of the episode being live.
Not bad.
Not bad.
If you've listened to previous episodes, we've actually mentioned Kenny in the past and some of his podcasting adventures. So definitely go check out his shows, because he has multiple shows now.
Very much so, yes.
But for the audience that doesn't know you, Kenny, tell us a little bit about yourself, both professionally and personally.
Good grief, where to start? like Jesse said, or rather, like I told him to say, I am a comedian here in the Austin area. I've been doing improv comedy since October of 2008, starting in that comedy mecca that is Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. When you think Oklahoma, you think comedy. And then I moved down to Austin in August 2014, August 3rd, 2014, and pretty much hit the ground running doing improv around town. Since pandemic, kind of been doubling down on podcasting versus improv because it's kind of difficult to do improv. I've done a couple improv Zoom shows. That's very difficult. What pays the bills right now, though, is video editing. If you've been at a bar around town in Austin or Key West or probably somewhere else, you've probably seen Chive TV. I am the video editor for Chive TV, which is a channel on the Atmosphere Network. Go download that. And then also I edit nostalgia videos for a YouTube channel called Do You Remember? And also I got 3 podcasts right now. One called Shame Watch, where we talk about guilty pleasure movies. Another one called ID 4 Minutes at a Time, where we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the film Independence Day by watching the entire movie 4 minutes at a time. And also the Lasso Cast, which at the last check, I think is the internet's only Ted Lasso podcast. That is far and away probably one of my favorite TV shows ever. And that is, that's a really hard thing to earn from me. It's incredible. Yeah. Did I miss anything, Jesse? Do I do anything else?
In my experience, you are an SEO forward content writer and
Yes.
have done a lot of content for sites that I've worked on in the past and have ranked beautifully for many of them. You've been involved in a lot of web design projects.
Yes.
My God, man, you do a little bit of everything. It's crazy.
Yes.
Like I like to think I'm someone that dabbles in a little bit of everything. You truly dabble in a little bit of everything.
I think one of the most frequent things that I get from coworkers is, "Good Lord, when do you have time to sleep?" And the answer is, I'm always tired. That's my secret. I'm always tired.
You're the Sleepy Hulk, Bruce Banner. That's my secret, Cap. I'm always tired.
Yeah, but if you make me angry, I just kind of put in my earplugs and just kind of snuggle up under a weighted blanket.
And if he's sad, he becomes Shulk. Shulk sad.
Shulk sad.
Sad little baby.
So, Kenny came into my life when the first company that we worked at together, Geek Powered Studios, was growing and becoming a thing. We hired him onto the SEO team, and so Kenny and I, when it was a team of 3 people, spent a lot of time together, and through that, did a lot of bits and riffing off of each other in a very small room and pissing a lot of people off all the time. Which also included a lot of conversations about things like improv and just nerdy stuff. So it's kind of made him the perfect candidate for today's episode. And kind of kicking that off because he introduced it to me. It's not something that I necessarily partake in, but I find the action of very intriguing. And that's improv. Tell us a little bit about improv and what that means to you.
Yes. Improv, good Lord. Improv has genuinely changed my life, which is potentially the most one of the most insufferable things a straight white man like myself can say.
Or walking cliche.
Oh, absolutely. But I would definitely not be as mentally well adjusted if I did not have improv in my life, because improv for me is one of the few art forms that you can look at, see a mistake, know that it's a mistake, and have that mistake become context for what you see, and then it actually becomes validated, if that makes sense, as opposed to something like filmmaking or just other forms of art, where a mistake, you kind of have to have someone tell you that thing was a mistake. Like in Midnight Cowboy, whenever Dustin Hoffman also almost gets hit by that taxi cab and he says, "I'm walking here." Like, that's an improv and that's clearly a mistake, but if you're watching the darn thing, you're like, oh, that's cool. You don't necessarily know that that's a mistake, as opposed to the concept of, as opposed to whenever you are watching a live improv comedy show and you can very much see just someone flubbing a line. You can go, that person is flubbing a line. And you see that process of making a catastrophic mistake. And instead, if you're around people that love and support you, then that mistake becomes a choice. And it kind of influences the fabric of what the heck is going on there. And for me, from a mental health perspective, because gosh darn it, I've just had the worst self-esteem. To see someone go, it is okay to make a mistake. And not only is it okay to make a mistake, but we love you because you've made this mistake. It helped me see that there's just a lot less pressure that I have to put on myself. Because all I have to do is just do something. Like Mick Napier from The Annoyance says, just you have to do something. Do literally anything. You have to take that first step forward. And whenever I am teaching improv, whenever I'm coaching improv, which to be fair, I haven't done in a hot minute. But that is one of the things that I try and deprogram people, because whenever they're doing comedy, or whenever a normie comes up to me and goes, I don't know how you do what you do. Like 95% of the process is me just deprogramming someone and saying, you don't have to try. Just literally do what you think is good. And once you feel good about literally whatever you are doing, you've done most of the work. You don't have to be funny. Just do literally the next thing that you think you should be doing.
Unless your name is Michael Scott and your impulse is to shoot everybody in the improv class.
Yeah, for sure. And also, that's an example. And again, I do comedy. That's an example of someone trying to be funny as opposed to just kind of doing the next thing. If I tell you, Keith, hi, how's it going? You say,
Konnichiwa.
Absolutely. Just do the next thing. Yeah, that's fine.
And then I shoot everybody in the class, and
yeah, for sure.
No red flags are going to go up from this episode whatsoever.
There's but no one can say no to that, right? You can't say no in improv. It's yes and, isn't it?
No.
There you go. I mean, I can go deep because I again, I've been doing improv for a while now, and technically you're not supposed to negate the reality of whatever the scene is trying to establish, but you can say no. And also sometimes you just kind of have to say no because it's improv, so much of it is instinctual, and sometimes those instinctual efforts can genuinely take you into an unsafe space. Like I forget what exactly it was, but there's a duo called TJ and Dave, and they were doing a show with their friend Tracy Letts. And I think Tracy Letts was just going off on some sort of terrible womanizing or racist tirade, and one of the players literally walked off the stage, just kind of ended the scene, and then swept it into another scene. And then I believe the first line was, well, that character that was just being racist just got killed by a bus.
It's like a more aggressive Night at the Apollo where they pull them off the stage.
Yes.
So
yeah,
I've been very fortunate not only to get to kind of riff off of Kenny at work when we kind of do little bits together or watch him do bits with other people, but I've seen many of his shows around town. So, I mean, if you're in the Austin area or in an area where he happens to have traveled to give a show, go to said show because it's going to be amazing. But one that I got to see, which was absolutely hilarious, it was based on historical figures of some sort. And he actually played Stanley Kubrick. And this is the funniest shit in the world. In the episode, or in the scene, he comes out, he's introduced, Stanley Kubrick, he walks out, and he literally starts blocking out how it could have been better and makes the scene more symmetrical. And, nope, we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again. And they intro him like 15 times. It was fantastic. Absolutely the greatest piece of comedy I have ever seen. I think about it frequently. You've ruined The Shining for me. Every time I watch The Shining, I think of you as Stanley Kubrick making that movie better.
That's the goal. I seek to ruin as much art as
And you did.
possible.
You did.
Brilliant.
As someone who likes The Shining, I think the book's better. As someone who enjoys the movie, you've ruined it. It's great.
Great,
So
wonderful.
with the improv community, I'm really curious how they're handling, so much of the lockdown, because I know that with the stand-up comedy industry, they've undertaken a lot of these drive-in comedy experiences where you go to a drive-in theater, everybody turns on their radio, and if they laugh, they flash their lights. And I also know that, for example, Master Pancake Theater here in Austin is using a Twitch stream to do their mocks, and people are, of course, contributing money on Twitch to help the show keep going. So, has the improv community done anything like that? Have they?
Yes.
What are they doing nowadays?
Exactly what Master Pancake is doing, which is migrating over to Twitch. It is kind of surprising the longevity that the improv theaters have had in town, considering that Cap City closed. That's done, which is you tell me that you tell me shoot at the beginning of pandemic that Cap City would have closed because of this thing. I never would have believed that, and it's gone. And yet, all of the improv theaters are still going. Cold Town Theater lost their space, but that wasn't because of pandemic. That's just because of the gentrification that's been going on. Hideout Theater, which is smack dab in the middle of downtown, they still have their theater, and to say that the Hideout Theater, which is 100-seat theater, would still have its location in Cap City wouldn't. That's wild. And the way that they've survived has been to move over to Twitch, to have online classes because they've still kept improv classes going. And I have to say, all of this is just through me looking in on the outside, because I have done very little improv during pandemic. I won't say it hasn't been fun, because the stuff that I have done has been fun, but also it's been a challenge, because one of the things that I thrive off of is just that immediate stimuli of response. My gut can't function because I can't hear what is working and what's not, and I can't really adjust, so I get really in my head.
Interesting. Yeah, it sucks that they're losing a lot of those theaters. A common Friday night not too long ago for me and a few of my friends was to park behind Cold Town Theater and then walk to Tyson's for tacos.
Yes.
Because they were offering free beer with tacos on Friday nights. And we'd walk back to Cold Town Theater, catch the show, and then walk back a block over to Mrs. Johnson Bakery for some hot donuts, fresh off the out of the fryer. Oh man, that was a good Friday night, and now it's gone. It's all gone. Thanks, gentrifiers.
For now, because one of the things one of the things that the community has. To put this in perspective, all the improv theaters in Austin here are still in existence, and also IO, where folks like Mike Myers and Chris Farley and Amy Poehler and Tina Fey come from. It's a pillar of the improv community. Closed because of pandemic. That's gone. That thing has been around since the late 70s, early 80s. That theater, gone. Upright Citizens Brigade, Amy Poehler's improv theater, where she's had a location in New York and 2 locations in Los Angeles. The New York branch no longer has an open theater, and the Los Angeles Los Angeles has closed one of their places. Second City, uh, basically the father of all improv theater here, basically the father of comedy here in America, has gone through major upheaval due to pandemic and also due to a lot of exposing of some awful, awful racist and sexist things that have gone on. And yet, the Austin improv community somehow basically is still running, still having shows regularly. And not only that, but the Hideout Theater, along with its Twitch stream, has also done a Patreon where they are able to generate, I think, at last time I checked, $2,000 a month
Wow.
just because of the amount of support. It's incredible. It is very heartening. It there will be some sort of improv presence here in Austin when a new normal is established and folks can actually touch each other.
Austinites do love their live performances.
That's true.
I think anytime I went to go see you live, be it at the Hideout or the Institution Theater, all of those shows sold out fast.
Yeah.
Like, it's improv theaters, and there are multiple across town, and it was very common for those shows to sell out or at least be right at capacity.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I dig it.
No, I'm glad that sort of thing is continuing to thrive and finding a way to, dare I say, even be forced to modernize a bit. Being able to have that sort of thing go on, especially when we are in some sort of new normal, that's just going to make them thrive even greater. So that's awesome.
Yeah. It is an exciting time in that one aspect.
Totally.
Yes. It's interesting, and it's interesting to see a new type of comedy language evolve just out of sheer necessity because it's a completely different medium to do improv comedy in, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Totally.
Woot.
Woot!
So looking at the time, I think the time is zipping by. I think
Do
we
you
are
want me to talk
actually
about improv more? I can talk about improv
Yeah.
more. If you-
I think actually we are at our Tell Me Something Good segment.
Woo. Tell me something good.
My favorite is Keith's whoop after I say that.
It's a tradition. Tradition. So yeah, this segment of the show where we nerds tell the world what we think they need to have in their life to make their lives better, as awesome as our lives are. So it can be any one thing. It can be a show. It can be a shoe. It can be a poo. No, I'm just kidding. I
Oh,
don't
damn
know.
it. Mine was a shoe.
Just one shoe.
Yeah.
Just one shoe.
The right shoe of this brand is garbage. The left shoe is great.
That's awesome. It's good to know. So, yeah, let's kick it off this week and see what Kenny has to tell everybody in the world. What's something you would recommend somebody buy, acquire, steal, take from old ladies?
I touched upon this at the beginning of the show. And by the beginning of the show, I don't mean I mean the beginning of this episode. Has anyone talked about Ted Lasso yet?
Not yet.
I don't think so.
Cool. So Ted Lasso on the Apple TV Plus app that I'm sure that you were just foaming on the mouth to just already sign up for. But honestly, Ted Lasso is so good that it made me sign up for Apple TV, for the Apple TV Plus app. It is from the creator of Scrubs, Spin City, Cougar Town, and it is Jason Sudeikis plays Ted Lasso, a kind of southern college football coach who gets recruited to coach football, soccer in England for a struggling team. If it sounds like Major League, that's because very much ripping off Major League, at least in that premise.
Rosie
And
O'Donnell
then-
in it? No, that's League of Our Own. My bad.
Yeah. And then what happens is genuinely one of the first times that I felt anxiety free in 2020. It is a show that is so kind and is so adult without being dour and dark and gritty. It is able to talk about the complexity of human emotions in a way that is very kind, very mature, and very adult, while also being insanely hilarious at the same time. I like frequently. I think I teared up like 2 or 3 times during the run of the show, which is just so wonderful. It is deceptively smart because, whenever you see Ted Lasso, you're going, "Oh, this dude is a cartoon." Like it's Jason Sudeikis with a big goofy mustache, and the commercials really don't do it justice. Instead, he's kind of this. He's this kind, sensitive guy who is literally just trying to help people find the best in themselves, and is very much my jam. And if you're looking for anything that will just kind of leave you with the feeling of maybe humans aren't doomed after all, well, like, go sign up for a free trial of Apple TV Plus. There's 10 episodes. The trial is 7 days. I sped through the show in like 3 days. Each episode's like 30 minutes. Go watch it.
Ted Lasso. Just looked it up, and yes, that mustache is. I don't want to say glorious, but it's it's there.
I
It's very
imagine
much-
it's like
very
a
much
weak
there.
attempt at Burt Reynolds.
It's definitely. Jesse, what do you have for us this week?
So lately, I've been playing the game Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is okay at best. I'm not a big Assassin's Creed fan, but I like Vikings and Norse mythology, so I am plowing through it, and it's at least a good escapism. But that to lead into, based off of that sort of thought process, as the TV was taken up the other day, I decided to see if I could find a little fun game to play on my Nintendo Switch. And in a very similar vein, found one called Jotun, Valhalla Edition. And basically it's a hand-drawn indie game, very atmospheric, where you play a female Norse warrior who has fallen in battle, but has for some reason not been deemed worthy to go to Valhalla, so you have to go through the 9 realms, fighting off various giants and other things to prove your worth. And it has proven to be a really fun little game. Not super involved, nothing crazy going on, but just kind of a fun little time waster. And it's fun because it's all in like a Scandinavian language of sorts, and it's very reminiscent of different little things within Norse mythology that I really enjoy. So I've really enjoyed playing it when I can't play my larger, just kind of somewhat okay game. So yeah, the Jotun, check it out. I think it's on most systems where you can play video games, even PC. So.
Like, is that as in Jotunheim or?
Yes, Jotun.
Okay.
I mean, the whole premise is at the end of each world, you fight some gigantic Jotnar or a giant that has its various powers, and you have to use whatever you've accumulated so far to beat them.
Nice. And that's not part of the Assassin's Creed. It's a different.
It's a completely different game.
Okay, gotcha.
yeah,
I was just wondering if maybe Assassin's Creed had like a Greek Olympus version that they called Apollo Creed, but anyway.
That would be great. They do have a Greek version, I think. I don't know. I don't like.
But it's
those
not called
games.
Apollo Creed, I guarantee
No,
you.
no.
Damn it.
It should be though.
It is called Adonis Creed, though.
What a waste, though. What a waste. Apollo Creed, he's the champ. He is the champ.
Oh yeah. So what's your recommendation this week, Keith?
Yeah, Keith.
Yeah. so Jesse, I actually recommended this to you, I believe, over the Christmas break.
Yeah.
But I was just a sudden fan and just binged the hell out of this. And if anybody knows me very well, I don't binge movies or TV shows just because I don't like sitting very long. But this show I had to, just because it's great. It's a BBC show called Ghosts.
Oh,
And
gosh.
it is a comedy show about I don't know, a dozen or more ghosts that live on in an old manor in England, and the house's last owner dies off, and they can't find a very close relative, so they go after like a third or fourth or fifth removed cousin, and she's definitely not of the noble lineage, to be sure. And so only she can see the ghosts, and her husband can't. And it's pretty funny because there's one of the ghosts happens to be an MP, a member of parliament, who died during a sex scandal. So he is pantsless the entire show. He died without pants, therefore he has no pants. There's a Neanderthal who died many thousands of years ago, and he's the oldest ghost there. But he also turns out to be the smartest ghost there. So Robin is his name. So definitely check out Ghosts BBC. It is available on HBO Max if you want to watch it.
I watched the first episode after Keith recommended to me, and it is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, it's a very funny show. I dig it.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, I would recommend it if you like comedy. I thought I would pick a comedy since we have a comedian on the show this week.
Hey, wonderful comedy.
It's wonderful. Yeah. It's all about comedy. It's all about laughter. Anyway, all right. So there you have it. That's our Tell Me Something Good for the week.
I like that the New Year Tell Me Something Good is still spooky somehow.
Oh, life is spooky, right?
Ooh, it's spooky.
I mean, I just love how everybody thought that 2021 would happen, and then suddenly all of our problems would go away. Oh, bye-bye, 2020. There won't be any more problems in 2021.
Well, guess what? Insurrection. Suck it. So, speaking of improv, and this is kind of my guess based off of knowing you for as long as I have in the conversations we've had, you're also a big fan of I guess, I mean, TV, obviously, but things like sitcoms and shows like Community. You actually got me into Community.
That's wild.
And he got me into Community.
And I got Keith into Community.
Whoa.
So how have movies and TV shows and things like that really played into not only you getting into something like improv, which is very much your kind of passion, go-to outside of work sort of thing? If it could be my job, great, but it isn't. But also, how has that played into what you do professionally?
Sure. I mean, professionally, I am a video editor. That is how I pay my bills. So TV kind of plays a big deal into that. For me, growing up, and I don't know what you folks were like, but for me, TV and movies were kind of another part of the family.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Indeed.
For me, not for my parents. The last movie my mother saw in theaters was, well, she went to go see it with me, but before that it was Fern Gully. And then my father, the last movie he saw in a movie theater was Good Burger.
Oh dear.
My goodness. I think the last movie that my dad probably saw in theaters was The Force Awakens, and then before that was The Dark Knight. He only comes out for the massive movies like that. So much of my thinking for good and for ill is probably, it's probably the way that it is because of expectations placed from TV and from movies. I kind of just think of things in cinematic and televisual terms. Yeah.
Interesting. I feel like I kind of do something similar, like life in my head plays out like a movie or a show and then falls amazingly short to that expectation that I put in my head.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that. I haven't met too many other people that kind of feel similarly. And I feel like you and I have kind of talked about this a little bit in our friendship. But yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, you got me into shows like Community. I watched all of that because you talked about it and I thought it was funny. So I watched the whole thing and then I recommended it to everyone and have rewatched the whole thing many times.
Yeah. I'm actually in the middle of rewatching it myself now, and I'm really very much enjoying. I think I just finished the second paintball episode.
Oh, that first paintball episode,
which is just these are just fantastic. Yeah, and of course, child of divorce here, so the television was my babysitter, very much like Jason Bateman's character in Arrested Development. Yeah, just constantly thinking back on television shows and how families are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my parents were nothing but supportive. But also, I grew up in a quiet family. That's kind of just the way that things were. My parents were always proud of me, always supported me in everything that I did. And also, I got a lot of my social input because I also grew up as an only child, and I grew up in a place where there literally just were no other kids around. I would go to school, and then once my school day was over, that was kind of it in terms of socialization with my peers.
I thought you were going to say I would go to school and there are no children at school.
Yeah, that's not how it was with other people, I guess. You didn't just get shipped to a building and just kind of stare at a
Just you
wall
and
for
teachers.
9 hours a day.
I feel like life might have been a little bit better if that was the case. Might have enjoyed that a little bit more.
I can think of some of the kids I went to school with that would have been better if they weren't there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, what is it about shows like Community and generally the works of someone like Dan Harmon? Because I know you're a big Dan Harmon fan, or at least used to be. What is it that makes things like that resonate with you so hard?
Oh, that's interesting that you're asking that. And I watched Hot Fuzz last night, and I think that Edgar Wright is of a similar vein as Dan Harmon because one of the just running motifs of the things that I am most passionate about, at least until I think recently, is television and film that is about television and film because I think one of my language so much is talking about TV and talking about movies, and I think the things that I've never thought about this before, but the personalities that I gravitated to most were people that were taking critical looks at the way that we process pop culture. Dan Harmon, of course. Community is a television show about TV, and then Rick and Morty is it's less of a TV show about TV shows, and yet they still had an episode of the fourth season which is literally about Dan Harmon's story circle. So I can't think of like the show has officially gone its own up its own butt, which is I mean that's I like Rick and Morty very much, and it is I don't know. I guess I just liked seeing that familiarity. I like seeing that kind of viewpoint mirrored back to me because I could see myself in that. I'm going, oh, this voice is articulating something that I have been articulating in my own life. And then, I mean, starting with Kevin Smith.
Who's that?
What's up, man?
Who's that?
He likes Star Wars and his wife's butthole.
That's the most accurate description of Kevin Smith that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Truly.
I mean, that's what he's evolved into, basically, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because I was at one point I think he did have something deeper to say as opposed to just kind of parroting the same jokes over and over again. And I liked the jokes that he was saying at the beginning, and also he's kind of telling the same jokes from whenever I was 15, and like at some point it just kind of gets awkward.
Yeah. I like to think of Kevin Smith because I'm also a big Kevin Smith fan, as you know, or at least was. I think of him as because I like his Q&A movies a lot, and I always think of everything up to the third Q&A. I can't remember what the third one's called.
Evening with Kevin Smith.
That's it. That's the one. Everything up to that point is gold. Everything after that point is less gold. It's more bronze.
I mean, there's a clear breaking point with his career, and that breaking point is Jersey Girl, a movie that I genuinely enjoy.
I love Jersey Girl.
Is it great? No. Is it bad? Not at all. And also I'd be eager to see the original cut that had 20 minutes more of J-Lo, because from what I have heard, it is the Jerry Maguire of Kevin Smith's career, which is that is a very exciting notion, because of the thing that I think has really held him back is just he he has nothing else to say, and that is absolutely fine. Even though I guess he has an entire podcast network, so clearly he has things to say. But his, I don't know, his outlook of the world does not resonate with me. I'll put it that way. It doesn't
Yeah,
resonate
I
with
agree
me
with
as
that.
much as it did whenever I was younger. And one of the things that was so attractive is that he was completely transparent about the filmmaking process, or at least that's what it seemed like. He literally showed you the budget breakdown of Clerks and went, I spent this much on this, this much on this, this much on this. And you can use that as a template and go, cool, so if I just take these things, then I can do what he did. And then I Edgar Wright was so influential for similar reasons, and also just his work is so dense, and it is also kind of evolving that man-child archetype and analyzing that, at least with Shaun of the Dead and Spaced, and then he used those as bouncing off platforms and going, cool, now what's the dark version of this? Now, how do we turn this fascist super cop into a little bit of a man-child?
Make him jump over a fence.
Very much so. Haven't you ever taken a shortcut? And then Dan Harmon was... One of the things that just resonates with me is that for me, it is not demonstrative of people that are trying to just show how big their penises are in terms of how hard they work, but just going, I care so much about this medium. I want to make sure that every single frame has value in it.
And so Harmon Quest was born.
And so Harmon Quest was born. And now I find myself having been kind of steeped in watching TV and movies for TV and movie people, and then I found something like Ted Lasso, which is just kind of, I don't know, maybe the antithesis of it, because there's very little cynicism in it. And I don't know if you know this, but 2020, I think I'm the first person to say this, 2020, kind of a dumpster fire.
Never. I don't know. I've heard that. I can't figure out why people seem to think that.
Yeah. Now, granted, my
It's very
Facebook has
bizarre.
been down since March of 2020, so I haven't really been able to see anything of what's going on.
You got locked out again, didn't you?
I did.
I told you, don't do that. Don't let that happen.
I'm pretty sure my password is 4206969. I keep trying it, but
Try
it just-
wealthy big penis 420.
It is that one.
You'll
But-
get
but-
in.
Yeah, but I find myself gravitating towards, more so than ever, media that is exploring the human condition in ways that avoid conflict, which might be the most pretentious thing that I've ever said, and also I stand firmly behind it.
I don't know if your tweed jacket has enough patches on the elbows to be able to say it that way.
Let me get out my pipe.
Do better.
I don't know if you can see
Be
this.
best.
Be best.
Boy, boy, boy.
Joke
Boy,
different.
boy. Funny joke.
Funny joke.
But I think, and maybe this is just me putting way too much value in the media that we consume. That's entirely possible. But for someone that considered media as a member of the family, just let me have this one, Keith.
Not quite my tempo.
Sure. If I could have a brief sidebar, I gotta talk about this. Have you guys seen the video of J.K. Simmons from Whiplash? But instead of Miles Teller, it's a duck stomping on a drum.
No.
I haven't, but I want to see this so
And
badly.
it's just J.K. Simmons from Whiplash just kind of going, and it's just a duck going,
Are you rushing or dragging?
yeah. It is. It is the funniest thing.
So does it do that
But
whole
anyways,
like 12-minute monologue with the duck, or is it like a very quick little short thing?
Oh, it's like less than 30 seconds, which
Oh,
I think
that's
is
great.
how all media should be consumed. I just don't have the time.
Get on TikTok, baby.
I don't want to. The algorithm.
Get on TikTok. It's the algorithm, baby.
It's the algorithm. I got to stay away from the algorithm.
That's why you got out of SEO. You couldn't handle that algorithm.
I couldn't handle the algorithm. I was going Bing, Alta Vista. There's so much going on.
So much goddamn algorithm.
Oh, I miss Dogpile.
So, when you were talking about Kevin Smith, it actually made me think of something, and it was.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? But the biggest pile of weed you've ever smoked. This, you took this journey a couple of years ago, where you went to New York and ended up in Red Bank and went to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, and it was so funny. I knew you were up there, and I knew why you were up there, and I knew kind of what you were doing, which we'll get to in a second. But one of my most prized possessions that I have, and I think because it's been so long since we've seen each other, I think very fondly on every day that we got to spend together and all the things that we did, and just funny way to make light of work. It's almost become nostalgic for me, and I think that's really encapsulated in what you got me when he went to the comic shop. For those that don't know, that's what that is. He got me a black T-shirt with the Clerks logo, and it's not the multicolored fun one. It's literally the Clerks X DVD black T-shirt, white letters. It's like it might be typewriter font, but it's so iconic. You can tell that it's Clerks.
Yeah.
And it's that gesture was always so amazing to me. Like, I'm out here, I went to this place. Let me pick up my buddy a shirt. So I absolutely love that shirt.
It wasn't even a second thought. Of course.
But from that, tell me a little bit about that trip, because I know that you went somewhere else that plays into another fandom that you very much appreciate, and I have found that to be one of the most amazing journeys I've heard a human being do.
That might probably be the most fun week and a half of my entire life, because I was up in New York City, for clarification, Keith. Just want you to know. I was
My
up
favorite
there,
town on the planet. Not.
Hey, the city that never sleeps, baby. You
Where
gotta go
everyone's walking here.
Everyone's walking here. You gotta go get a slice. You gotta go to the MoMA.
I tried, they were closed.
I tried to open the MoMA with the slice, but they were saying that we're walking here. But I was up there doing a comedy festival, the Del Close Marathon, which is 72 straight hours of improv comedy and podcasting and comedy.
Boy, he was tired at the end.
There was a day where I was literally up for 24 hours straight.
Shit.
I got there on a Wednesday. No, I got there on a Thursday. That's critical, because that day I saw UCB. I saw the Upright Citizens Brigade at Carnegie Hall, which is like that's insane. I saw Amy Poehler on the UCB4 along with Tina Fey, Horatio Sands, and I believe Rachel Dratch as well, just do improv in Carnegie Hall, which is so weird. And I think we were sitting in the 7th row at Carnegie Hall just watching that. And then the festival started the next day, and I saw so much incredible improv there. And I saw Ben Schwartz and his buddy, I think it was Gil Ozeri, do improv. Jason Mantzoukas, Matt Walsh, and John Glazer do a set. And then I also they do an overnight show called I think it's just the bit shows, where it's improvisers from literally all over the country just have like a 10-minute idea, and so they just do a thing for 10 minutes. And I think one of my favorite shows that I saw was a 10-minute set. Oh, there was literally a 10-minute set of comedians just adjusting the microphone. Like, that was it. That was the whole joke. And there was another show that I saw where it was adults pretending to be children pretending to be adults. So it was grown adults with giant trench coats pretending that they were adults doing improv comedy. It was genuinely dangerous. People were very much going to fall down.
Nothing will ever beat your idea for good cop, gooder cop.
Oh, Good Cop, Nice Cop.
That's what it is. Good cop, nice cop.
Yeah, that was my duo at Oklahoma City, where we would interrogate an audience member and do improv based off of that. That was fun. What else? Saw Jason Mantzoukas do improv. That was incredible. He's an incredibly kind performer, which is not at all what his public persona is. It was thrilling to watch. And also walked across the Brooklyn Bridge to protest the awful immigration policies of the Trump administration because they're a hot mess. And
Never heard of her.
What's that?
Sure.
Who's this?
He's a bad dude. He used to be a
Okay.
game show host.
Oh.
But it was just this whirlwind of activity. And then, as Jesse said, well, the Red Bank trip was afterwards. But before that, I rented a car. And I went to upstate New York, specifically Fort Ticonderoga, New York, because up there is the only licensed by Paramount one-to-one recreation of the original series sets of Star Trek, the original series. A fan by the name of James Cawley, who is a professional Elvis impersonator, decided to put all of his cash into building for his fan films that he used to make, but no longer makes, making one-to-one recreations of just everything from the 1966 to 1969 Star Trek, the original series. And so whenever you step onto it, you are just there on the Enterprise. Like the corridors, the bridge, the sick bay. There's a full engineering set. The decompression chamber from Space Seed. Spock's Vulcan harp. It is... it's surreal. And I that was a 4-hour trip. Was it outrageously expensive? Certainly. But I had the cash, y'all. Stop shaming me.
Defying the economy.
Yeah, I certainly. In this economy, no, but I did anyways. And it's this thing is literally out in the middle of nowhere. It's in a converted Dollar General.
That's my favorite part. It's so good.
And also, they have real costumes from the show. It feels like a major part of the Ticonderoga economy. Like it's licensed by CBS, by Paramount. Like they asked permission, and CBS was like, "Yes, this is good enough that we will officially sanction this." It's like an hour-long tour. It was incredible.
Didn't you go see a movie while you were up there too?
I did. It's one of my favorite movie-going experiences that I've ever been to.
Was it a Star Trek movie?
It was not. It was Ocean's 8. I'll get to the part, Keith.
That's
Slow down.
part.
But the closest movie theater, because whenever I got to Ticonderoga, I had just gotten a hotel room because that seemed like fun. And unfortunately, as lovely as Ticonderoga is, because I think there's a lot of wildernessy stuff to do.
Smells like
I
pencils.
think there's like a fort or something there. I don't care about this stuff. I'm there for Star Trek. I don't want to walk. So I was just kind of looking for a movie theater. The closest movie theater was 30 minutes away. And so I drive to this. It's a one-screen theater. I forget what it is, but the theater's called the Strand Theater. It's clearly in a tourist town. And talking with the owner afterwards, like the theater just closes down in the winter. It just doesn't operate whenever it's too cold. Things just close. It's one of the reasons why I was also in such nice condition, because it just kind of stays preserved. But because of the scarcity of movie theaters up there, you could feel people be excited to watch a movie, especially a movie like Ocean's 8, which is fine. But I can't think. Maybe at like the one film festival I've been at where people are just like, I'm so excited about seeing this. But for a normal movie like Ocean's 8, where people are just kind of buzzing around with excitement, it was wonderful. Like they were just excited at seeing the movie trailers play, and they were just normal trailers. it it was wonderful.
It's so awesome.
So you were saying that the rest of society is just too cynical. We're just too cynical. We go to the movie
Yeah.
theaters. We expect, prime rib. We expect some sort of, hoity-toity waiter to walk up to us and, wash our hands for us. But no, no. What we should expect is just really bad popcorn and just enjoy the theater experience.
And
Keith,
see,
I'm glad that's exactly what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Wonderful.
and everyone keep in mind that Kenny sees a lot of movies. I've seen a lot of movies with him. We've seen some really interesting stuff. We've done a pre-screening of Deadpool. We did a marathon of Avengers 1 and 2 when those came out, which was amazing. But also, we went to the Alamo Drafthouse downtown to see the 78 mil projected version of The Hateful Eight, which included a 15-minute intermission in the middle of it, which is not on the Blu-ray, which is very disappointing. And to say that this was the best movie-going experience, that's a high level.
It's one of the best. Let's talk. I think there are three others that are better in my life.
I've listed them.
What?
I've listed all three of them.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I think number three was the movie Vantage Point. Don't know if you guys remember this movie. It's a movie that just does not exist.
It's like Point Break, isn't it?
Yes, except that it's completely different.
It's just like it, but completely different.
Yeah. Basically, it's I think the president of the U.S. gets assassinated, but you watch the movie from 8 different vantage
Oh,
points.
yeah.
And the movie is awful. It is really bad. And I was at a free screening of it, and it was so bad that the audience was audibly groaning every time because what would happen is that the movie would rewind, and it rewound like 8 times, and just every single time it rewound, the audience was like, "Ugh." It's a
Wait.
free screening.
Was it on a VHS tape? Was this?
No, this is in the theater.
Okay.
But that was just kind of the gimmick. It's awful. It was thrilling because just the audience just being so viciously against it. I think the second best movie going experience that I did was Star Wars: The Force Awakens trailer. Whenever that came out,
Oh, that was cool.
the morning after Thanksgiving. It was a Friday morning, which is often when mornings are after Thanksgiving.
When they try hard enough.
Yeah, sometimes they don't try hard enough, and sometimes the morning after Thanksgiving is a Saturday morning. But what the Draft House did is they just ran the first trailer. They invited people to just come watch the trailer. That's it. At 8:30 in the morning. It was literally the first time that anyone had seen the trailer. That's it. They weren't showing anything, and they got a panel of experts to kind of talk about the trailer. And so we watched the trailer like 6, 7, 8 times over the course of an hour and a half on the big screen. Like that was the first time that I saw that trailer. And then after they showed the trailer for the first time, like the panel of experts were like, "Cool, what do you think is going on?" Just chatting about, just literally just being the internet, but just there. And then I think on the 5th or 6th try, Tim League was like, "Is there any way that we could try and do frame by frame?" Like just talking to the projectionist, like what's the closest that we can get frame by frame? And so like they played the trailer again, and like the projectionist literally just trying to start and stop on cues with Tim League, and the audience is like on the projectionist's side. And like the 5th time, it's kind of touch and go. He's not doing the best job, and then on the 6th time around, the projectionist has got it down to a science, and the audience is like, "Yes!" Whenever like he's pausing on the right frame. It was thrilling, and I think the best film going experience that I ever did. I was in the first audience ever to see the M. Night Shyamalan movie Split, which sounds weird, but also M. Night Shyamalan wasn't good again, so you could just. It was a secret screening at Fantastic Fest, so we literally had no idea what the movie was going to be. And then the movie starts playing, and we're all trying to kind of figure out what the movie is going to be. And then an M. Night Shyamalan film pops up, and everyone's like, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be good. and then spoiler alert for Split, but it turns out to be a secret sequel to Unbreakable. So when Bruce Willis shows up at the end of Split, the audience goes ballistic. It is the biggest reaction that I have ever seen about anything in a movie ever. Because like we were tricked. This is a surprise Unbreakable sequel, and literally no one knows about this. We are the first people ever to see this. And then out of nowhere, M. Night Shyamalan and James McAvoy just show up and talk about the movie as well. That's rad. I like movies.
With that statement, I think that is the perfect way to wrap this up and move into our lightning round.
I can talk about improv more if you.
Little-
Keith.
Let's talk about stand-up instead. No, just kidding. The lightning round. Well, this is our weekly segment in which I ask you the exact same 3 questions I've asked everyone else. So it is completely unoriginal, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be an interesting episode where we just pull all this stuff together and do psychological analyses of everyone.
Certainly.
We do have Dr. Art Markman from Two Guys on Your Head here in Austin. I can get him to like analyze this stuff and go back and say, oh, this guest is
A psychopath.
a psychopath. We gotta get some help for this person.
They're all Brita.
Ooh, no Obids.
Getting rid of
Sad.
the Brita.
No worries.
Ah, well, maybe you'll be our Obid. Would you like to be our Obid, Kenny?
Cool.
Cool. All right, here we go with the lightning round questions. How do you think your hobbies have contributed to your success in your full-time work?
My work is kind of my hobbies, and my hobbies are kind of my work. I as Jesse could attest to, I think about things in video editing terms. I gave Jesse on a flash drive like an hour and 40 minute, 2 hour 40-minute version of The Hobbit, just because I found that.
No, it was. It took all 3 movies and condensed them into a 3.5 hour.
Darn.
You were close.
I'd like to see one that condensed it all into 6 minutes. That would be nice.
You're not wrong. But the way that I process things, the way that I process stories is very much of a video editor's brain of going, this could be tightened up. This could go a little bit longer. Let's just get a couple more beats out of this. I think about things in those terms.
His edit of Into Darkness is amazing.
Yes, I still need to fine tune that. I need to finish my solo edit because I was literally one line because I was recording some ADR because that's how dedicated I am to re-editing movies. I was doing some ADR for it, and then I was exporting it, and then my computer died while I was exporting. And so
that's unfortunate.
It's just gone.
Wow, that's terrible. Solo needs help, a lot of help.
It does. I tried. Boy, I tried.
I do like to irritate one of our previous guests, James Hibbard, because he spent so much time covering Game of Thrones. I always like to tell him that Emilia Clarke, I only know her as Kira. He's... Anyway. All right, second question. If you could be one fictional character, who would it be? Abed, right? Abed?
No.
Cool.
No,
Just
no,
kidding.
No. I would want to be someone that's way more well-adjusted.
Troy.
Because someone would be able to look at me and go, oh, there's a guy. If I could be one fictional character.
Jeff Winger.
I wish that I could be Ted Lasso.
Okay.
I wish that I could be Ted Lasso. I wish that I could have the kind of confidence to stand firm in what I think about the world while also not being a jerk about it and while being kind and compassionate to others and helping other people realize that they are good enough the way that they are. Let me try and create a path for you to kind of activate the best version of yourself.
No, that's an admirable goal. I dig that. Nice. All right.
And then behind that, Big Dick Richie from Magic Mike XXL.
Okay. Okay, that's the one that Art Markman's going to be like, yeah, that guy needs help. Yeah.
Before we move on, how many times did you see Magic Mike XXL in theaters?
I saw it twice in theaters.
I thought you saw more than that.
Believe me, I wish that movie is genuinely great. Genuinely great.
Oh my gosh.
It's outstanding. If you just want to watch women be entertained. And
keep in mind, he went to the rowdy versions.
Oh, but why would you go to any other, right?
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, you haven't lived until you've heard a woman just scream from the back of this theater, Jada!
Oh my gosh. All right, last question. What other interests would you like to pursue if time wasn't a constraint?
Oh boy. What interests would I like to pursue if time was not a constraint? Oh, money.
just money.
Yeah, because that seems. I bought a humble bundle recently, just all about finances and investing. And that, like, I've been reading a lot about film and media, and also just trying to be a better ally and trying to read about how we depict folks, and kind of. But also, like, I gotta make some passive income, baby, because I'm so sleepy. I'm so sleepy, and I want to work less.
Get on that money ball.
I gotta money ball it.
Just pursue the money, chase it down,
Demand.
Exactly, be best.
And then a close second, how to be Big Dick Richie from Magic Mike XXL.
It could be the same thing, man. The
Hopefully.
two could be the same thing.
It's the subtitle of your memoir, isn't it?
How to be Big Dick Richie. His character arc is trying to find a woman that is big enough for his gifts.
Oh dear.
Like, that's his thing. That's his character arc. It's great.
Oh my. Oh my. It's like the Death Star trying to find a planet big enough to blow up, you know? Yeah. Got it. All right, that is our lightning round for the week. And we're gonna send this over to Art Markman.
Yeah, this episode first.
You can't publish this. Don't do it. If you do, it will be disastrous.
Well, gentlemen, looking at the clock with the lightning round over, I believe we are at time. We are there. So with that, thank you, Kenny. Really appreciate you coming on the show. It's always a pleasure chatting with you. And it sucks that we haven't been able to catch up in a long time. So
Indeed.
It was really nice seeing you.
This certainly helped.
I'm going to edit this audio, and we're going to put some sci-fi like characters, you know, for the mouths for this one. Who would you like to be on this episode?
I like Dr. McCoy because he's grumpy about working.
I dig it.
Because it's like, I love being a doctor, but also I just hate people and hate space and hate Starfleet.
But you want to call urban, though, right?
I love being a doctor so much.
Damn it, Jim. I'm a comedian.
Yeah. Ending broadcast now.
Okay.